Rakesh sir, shall we start?
Ma'am, I think you are not a co-host. First, I want to make you co-host.
All right, sir. All right.
Just a minute.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, sir.
लिंक मिल गया था। अपूर्वा मैम,
Yes, sir.
आप प्लीज ब्रेकआउट रूम से बाहर निकल जाइए। लीव ब्रेकआउट रूम।
एक second. Move to English, right?
Not just
Main session.
Main session, no?
yeah, main session. You have to enter
Fine.
into main session.
Fine. Leaving. Just a second. Sir, I'm already there in main session.
You are already there in main session.
But you are visible in English session, ma'am.
Ma'am, just
I'm not
leave
getting this option to.
just leave the room. Leave the room and then again join.
Okay.
ये क्या दे?
अरे मेन हम लोग आ गए। अभी मेन में हैं क्या?
ऑटोमेटिकली मेन में आ गए।
हाँ, लगता है हिंदी से हम लोग अलग हो गए।
हाँ, हम लोग अलग हो गए हैं।
जी।
यहीं से हम लोग प्रारंभ करके अगर वहीं जाते अपने अपने सेक्शन।
Rakesh sir, is it all right now?
Now, ma'am, you may start your session.
Sorry, sir.
Ma'am, Apurva, you may start your session, please.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, you are able to see.
Yes. I'm just going to share my screen just a minute.
Ma'am, you have to start first on
All right.
laptop.
So, good morning to all.
Good morning, ma'am.
And so today, this is my first session here. So, wish me luck as well. So let's, without further delay, let's start because I don't know how it is going to be. All right. So I'm just going to share my screen now. And first of all, I want your favor. I mean, all the participants here, I want your favor. Because I want the session to be something like exchange of thoughts, as I always believe. I'm not going to give you a kind of, I'm not going to conduct a webinar for all of you because we all are teachers here and we all are learning, definitely. So definitely we are going to exchange our thoughts and let's proceed and let's see, have a look how it is going to be. So I'm just going to share my screen now. Is it visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Art integration learning. Yes.
Just a minute. It's not running properly. Just a minute. Yeah. So today I have selected this topic, art integration in learning in English. So I want you all to unmute yourself first because I want a very healthy interaction about this topic. So is there somebody who can tell me what is art integration? Only art integration. I'm not talking about English here right now. I'm just talking about art integration. So is there someone who can tell me what is art integration? Kindly unmute yourself and please answer. Are you really not interested to take part?
Unification of art, madam.
Okay, fine.
Unification of art.
All right. So through various forms, right? Something else? I got one answer, that is unification of arts.
Please elaborate it, ma'am. You.
Yeah, sure. I'm just giving you a very, have a look on the screen first. Art integration is an approach to teaching in which students construct and demonstrate understanding through an art form. So can we explain, can we go through this line only? Understanding through an art form, what does it mean? Are we not, I hope that this line is making this clear that nowadays, as per the rules and regulations and norms of CBSE, we are supposed to give or provide such kind of education to our children or to our students, which is absolutely not focused on books, but which is related with our environment also. It means that which will develop overall personality, or which will build up overall personality of a child, and the learning will be through an art form. As we know that we are doing it since a long time, we are providing education to our students in such a way only which would be very fruitful for them. Not only we are not going to provide them a very bookish knowledge, right? Let's go to the next line. Students engage in a creative process which connects an art form and another subject area and meets evolving objectives in both. It means because here we are focusing especially on English, so I again want to draw the attention towards our own subjects, that here we are talking about English. So how we can indulge and involve arts in English? I mean that English is not a subject which is related with arts and craft, right? But still, as per the instructions given by CBSE, we are forced to implement such art forms and the creative process in our teaching learning process, right? So we are going to have a look about it in our further upcoming slides, and we are going to make this clear. So basically the gist I would like to tell you that this is all about what the involvement of students and to make them overall developed. All right, so let's go for the next slide now. Again, I want your answers here. Is there somebody who can tell me what is the purpose of education? Take a while and then let me know in your own words. It can be a short answer, it can be a one-word answer, or anything, however you're comfortable. But I want you to answer, what is the purpose of education?
The main purpose of education is to all-around development of any child or student.
Wonderful, sir. Wonderful, sir. What's your name?
My name is Ranikant Chobe, madam.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for a great answer. Is there somebody else who can tell me what is the purpose of education? Sir told us that it is given to students for their overall growth and development. Somebody else?
Now, able to think whatever we are doing, we are able to think about the reason.
Right. So basically, to provide them practical education, right? To make them comfortable to think practically, whatever the things they are learning, right? Okay, something else? Fine, we are leaving now. So let's talk about some roles of education, that why we provide education as a teachers. And I mean, is there only a specific place to gain education? I'm just talking about school. No, I don't think so.
There is no
Because
specific place, ma'am.
yes, right. Because as we know, as psychology also says that learning is a lifelong process, right?
Lifelong
So
process.
why, so why CBSE is focusing this much and forcing us this much to implement art integrated learning in all the subjects? What is the role of this? How we are going to relate our own how we are going to make this specific and we can relate it with all the aspects of the world. How we can do it? Let's talk about the first rule of education, and then we will have a look on that also. When a people or a child is educated, then it is expected from him or her that he has a good literacy. He can ignore the social events of the society. He can develop a good sense to decide the social and political aspects which lie in our society. We can expect from the child to promote education, to promote emotional bonding among the people, or the, you can say that the people or the citizen of the country, right? So, and the next thing is that, of course, he is mentally such a strong personality is going to be that he can think scientifically also. He can be involved in technology also, because this is 21st century and we are living in this world, and we can't imagine our world without technology and without being technological. As right now we are sitting back at our home and we are conducting our webinar online. So I hope that from last 2 years we can understand very well what is the use of technology. Now the next thing is that equalization of educational opportunities. It means that if somebody is educated, then he or she will get the equal weightage, and he or she will get the equal opportunities. It means that there should be no discrimination between males and females, caste or creed, or other aspects also. Introduction of compulsory primary education. It means that suppose that I have qualified my secondary education, and now I am going to, I'm being expected from others that I can provide primary education to my younger ones. Of course, I should be that much capable. Development of right attitudes and values. Education doesn't mean only knowledge. There is a difference between knowledge and education. A person can be educated, but there are some people who are not that much knowledgeable. So here we have to think about the moral values, ethics, the right attitude towards thinking, towards anything, the right approach to think, and so on. Expansion of social education. When a person is educated properly, then he is able to think widely in all the aspects of the society, of country, of economy, of finance, personal relationship, professional relationship, and so on, right? Education for international understanding. This is the time of globalization. We can't imagine our career or life without expanding, without being internationally connected to other countries. Education for democratic values. So again, India is a secular country. It is a democratic country. So because at the age of 18, we are capable of casting our vote. So a person or an educated child should be he has such a good sense of knowledge and understanding that he or she could elect the king, you can say that, or the ruler who is going to rule, or who is going to take away our country towards the growth and development. Now, how we are going to impose all these things of education in our child? What a child expects from us as the teachers? What he or she expects? He should be active and willing to learn new things. Whenever a child enters in the classroom or sits in the classroom, so he expects his teacher to be such interesting, that because a child is always eager to learn new things. If we are going to work like that, then definitely the child will become interested to learn new things. He would be active in the classroom also. Child is already naturally curious. This is the personality. You can say that this is the trait of a child, that the child is already curious. He is always eager to learn new things. What we should do. As a teachers, we can only provide or guide him through various, what can I say, options or opportunities we can provide him, and the child will be developed overall, right? The next thing is emotional quotient. It means that once we are teaching him some, suppose we are teaching some moral values or moral lessons, as I'll take one example of a unit which is in standard 7, that is unity in diversity. That's a unit, and what you're going to learn in that unit, you're going to learn about the relationships. The chapter or the unit itself starts with a blood relation, the question which is based on blood relations. So why, what is the need of teaching students such reasoning questions, and why the book has given such kind of questions which includes thoughts, values, life skills, writing skills, and so on? Why? What is the use? Because the books are framed in such a way that apart from taking knowledge from the unit, the child is capable to think overall, right? He can think, he can consider, he can focus on the aspects after learning that poem or the chapter or the unit, whatever it is, so that he will develop his emotional quotient also. Again, when the child will start learning, so he will start developing his cognitive approach, which will lead towards being thoughtful, right? The second thing is that practicing and learning new skills. Once we are plenty, and once we are done with our knowledge, and when we feel confident in ourselves, so we always ready, and we are always eager to practice whatever we have learned. Again, here I'm talking about the practical education, right? Whatever we are learning, we always, as an adult also, we want to practice it. So what about the child? He's always creative, he's always eager to learn new things. So definitely the child will start practicing for the new things. Communication skills, interaction with the people, and so on. Once suppose I have a lot of vocabulary in my own dictionary, so definitely I feel confident, because here again, English is not a subject, it's a language. So if I have good vocabulary skills, if I have good word power, so definitely I will never feel shy to interact with others. In fact, I interact with people confidently. I have a good sense of knowledge. I can think broadly, and so on. So definitely I feel free to interact with people. The child will start enjoying while learning and playing. Of course, when the class is full of activities and fun, then not only students but also teachers love to conduct such classes, and because it is not tiring at all, right? The next thing is that learning best when active and interested in ongoing activities. Again, the same thing is related to the activities. If we have conducted our classroom, and if we have managed our classroom in such a way that we have involved so many activities, then everybody will take interest to take part. Now, again, your time. Can you tell me what is art? As we are discussing on art integrated learning, so can you tell me what is art? Because here I'm not here, I'm sitting just to tell you everything about art integrated learning. I'll give you some ideas also, which we can use in our classroom. I have collected a lot of ideas and worksheets I have prepared. So I'm just going to show you in next slides. But before that, I want to know what is art. What is art? Think as a student and then answer. What is art?
Ma'am, art makes us more creative and imaginative.
Yes, it is all about the creativity and imaginations. Definitely. Something else?
It also creates curiosity within us.
Curiosity. So basically our
And
mind.
we also apply our own sense and mind too.
Correct.
So it gives a broader space for the progress and development of our growth of our mind.
Correct. So as a student, which kind of art we want our teachers to involve in English?
It may be given pictures like to draw something.
Okay, all right.
And to given the picture, with the help of the picture, they will create their own story using their own mind.
Wonderful, sir, wonderful. So basically in English, when we talk about only specifically about English, so we have so many activities to conduct, and of course we all are doing also role plays, theaters, drama play, extempore, damsharads, debate, group discussions, and so on. Many things we are involving in our classes, day-to-day classes, and we are trying to make our classroom more interactive and of course art integrated. So let's have a look. What is art integration again? An approach to teaching in which students construct and demonstrate understanding through an art form. I want you to have attention on this picture. This is just a cartoon, but still here, this is a picture of a girl child who has a lot of, there are a lot of things which is running in her mind. It can be related with some science, some book, some art, some dance, some drama, some music, about some different countries, some calculations of writing also, and so many things. So what it shows that whenever a teacher is teaching something in the classroom, so our mind always roam, you can say that, or wander in various fields. We always try to correlate with the taught contents of the classroom, that I have learned this in that, so this can be related with that thing, so on, so many things, so on and so forth. So these all things keep on moving and going continuously in the mind of a child while teaching learning process. So this is what we want. We want our student to think widely. We want our student to use his cognitive approach to think properly. Students engage in a creative process which connects an art form and another subject and meets evolving objects in both. What it means? Suppose that we have taken one unit. Let's take any specific unit. Suppose we are teaching a poem in the classroom. So what we want our students to learn? We want to teach them rhyming schemes. We want to teach them rhyme, tone, intonation. Many more things are there, and the main thing is that the moral of the story. It means that the gist of the poem. So how we are going to teach, how we are going to conduct, we always try to sing or to rhyme the poem in such a way that it will enhance the curiosity to go further, or it will enhance the interest level of the students, that what could be next, and every line we are going to explain them, right? So how we are going to conduct them, and what it will do, it will lead towards the engagement of the students. And of course we want our students to get engaged all the time, because we don't like such messy classroom. So this is the best way to engage the students via involving art forms. Now the thing is that why we teach art? I mean, I'm not talking about here math, science, English, or here I'm not going specifically. I'm just talking about art. Why CBSE forced us so much to go through art teaching? Because we have three quotients in our mind as psychology. The first one is intelligent quotient, how we are going to observe that the child is, mentally developed or not, he or she is intelligent or not. So for the cognitive approach and for the cognitive mental health development, it is mandatory for us to find out the intelligent quotient of any person, right? The second thing is that to develop the social quotient of the person. When a person is emotionally, socially, mentally developed, then definitely he or she will be capable of choosing the proper things, to decide properly, to pass the judgment among the right and the wrong ones, right? And again, emotional development. This is very important. I think I just want to use one line. Human is not human without heart. What I believe. So if we are not emotionally developed, if we can't judge, or if we can't feel anything emotionally, then I don't think that we are developed, absolutely we are not developed. So this is very important, that whenever we are teaching to our child, so we should force or impose our teaching in such a way that we are providing them education to develop them mentally, emotionally, and as well as socially. Then only this is called.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am, Apurva ma'am. Without having emotions, one can develop oneself in life. In many ways, there are so many examples, like there are so many great personalities who have been in this world. Those who have no emotional attachment to anyone, instead of it, their opinions, their ideas, have been marvelous and have been guiding us for a long time, long years, many years. So we can't say that without emotions we cannot grow up ourselves like that.
Sir, but let's. I just want to relate with it with some. I just want to give some professional touch. Suppose that you are the head of any organization.
Yes, professionally you were right, ma'am. Professionally you were right. You can say
No,
that.
I'm just giving you one example. As you said that,
Yes.
as right now we are availing education for our career growth. We are not availing education for our overall growth and development. Right now, we are imposing such beliefs on our children that they have to make their career bright. We never teach our student, or I just want to talk about our personal child also. We never want him or her to grow as a emotional and social citizen of a country. We never impose. We always try him or her to develop his career. So this is not right. Suppose that I'm very intellectual, I'm very intelligent, I'm the topper of my school. I have topped class 10th, I have topped standard 12th, I have a very good score. And now it's time for written examination, it's time for making my career. I sat in examination, I qualified CAT, MAT, ZAT, whatever it is. Now why PIE is conducted? Have you ever thought the personal interview is just conducted for observation of the candidate, that whether the candidate is such intellectual person or not. It's okay that he scored a very good marks, or it's okay that he qualified the written paper, but it is very important to know that how he is personally as a human being, as a person, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Huh. So
Although, ma'am, Purva ma'am, although I have met a 7-year-old child, 8-year-old child, who is not a little bit emotionally attached.
Sorry, sir, can you please pardon? You're not audible properly.
See, ma'am, I have also met a 7 or 8-year-old child who is not a little bit emotionally attached to this materialistic world.
Right. Sir, this is the only problem, no? Like, right, in nowadays, we are teaching students to get involved in books. We are teaching students to get involved in technology, but we forget to teach them the moral values of a joint family. Due to any reasons, I'm just talking about any, that can be what can I say that? Reason, let's take this word only. Due to any reason, suppose that husband and wife is working somewhere, so he is forced to take his child with himself or themselves. In that case, what will happen? He or she will not value their grandparents because he is unaware. What is the care? What is the concern of grandparents? He is unaware. He is absolutely don't know. So if we expect from the child to develop or to grow overall, he will not. He can't actually, because we have not provided him or her that aura or atmosphere to learn and to grow. How he or she is going to get such practical experiences? By listening to the tales of grandmother and so on, right? How we are going to feel that warmth of the grandparents once we are going to live with them. So it's okay that we are leading towards development. It's okay that we are growing, but I don't think that's useful if somebody is not emotionally developed. I think so. I hope you all may agree with me. Right. Okay.
Yes, still I am not agree with you, ma'am, on this point.
It's okay, sir, because
that's why I have the sound knowledge of Mahabharata, Gita, Rajyas, Balak. Understand, ma'am? It is just what the relationship that you are talking about. It's just one that is respecting others, and he knows well, and he also gives the importance of the moral values in life.
Okay, fine. Sir, I am talking about the relationships. If we are working somewhere at a professional space, professional area, so are we not?
Then I agree with you.
Are we not connected? Are we not with a relationship? We are in a relationship of colleagues, right? And we are sharing a very healthy bond of working together. So how it is possible? If I'm not social, if I don't love to cooperate others, if I don't love to help others, so how I'm going to get connected and how I'm going to involve in that relationship? I don't think this is possible once our emotional quotient of our mind is developed. Once our social quotient of our mind is developed. I don't think this is possible. So for the overall development, it is not mandatory that a child is only developed, through books only. He has only information and the bookish knowledge, I can say, I prefer. I don't think this is, justified with a child. Because as a teacher, still we are learning. I prefer learning. So I think again, it's a lifelong process. I should be very, suppose I am sitting on that post, I'm the head of any organization, I have to run, and somebody come to me for leave due to some specific or genuine purpose. So how I should behave? I should, first of all, I should think professionally that is it going to harm our organization or not? But what could be the second aspect of thinking? I think it should be emotional. We should focus on the genuine reasons or the genuine cause of that employee. Otherwise, if I am not satisfying that employee, then he or she will not give me 100%. So how the organization will grow? How the organization will develop?
And
So I
emotion is
think-
also essential unless we never be a human being. And
Exactly,
as a human
that's what I
being, if
said,
we
that,
come in touch with anyone, we start relation ourselves, we start accepting his views also, and whatever anyone is sharing, according to the situation, we will judge him. Whether
Exactly.
he is good or bad, what he is doing is good or bad. It's without emotion, it's not possible to be a human being. We are like a robot then. So
Exactly.
emotion is essential.
This
for
is
a
the only
personal
thing which is
development.
differentiating among humans and animals. As again in what in politics, it is very well said that humans are a social animal, right? So we are
I'm talking about robots. If we haven't the
right,
emotion,
right.
then we become a robot.
Exactly. That's
So
what I
emotion
said.
is
That we
essential.
have to, yes, that's what I said. I do agree with you, and that's what I said, that we are forced to, indulge in a relationship if we want our overall development, because we are not robots. We have our heart, we have our mind. We can think, we can observe, we can feel, we can touch. Our sense organs are working. Okay, so let's proceed. It was a very good discussion, by the way. Okay, so let's talk about the differentiated instruction of teaching in the classroom. As we know that our classroom are filled with the students who have different needs, right? Every child is not same. Every one has some specific needs. Students who come from different educational backgrounds, right, have different attention spans and interests. Some loves dancing, some loves music, some loves art and craft, drawing, so on and so forth. Have different language abilities. It is not possible that, because as we know that English is a second language and we are forced to conduct our classroom in English only, but still I prefer bilingual language, as according to the new educational policy, it has been instructed by the government also that up to standard 5th, we have to use the regional language or the mother tongue in which the student is capable of understanding. Now, have different cultural backgrounds. They come from various castes, creeds, community, and so on, right? So they have their own specific needs. So ultimately, when we talk about English, so how we are going to, what are such activities which we can involve in our classes to make our teaching learning process more interesting? We can conduct theater, music, dance, and the visual arts. These are the 4 forms in which multiple activities are there, which we still conduct in our classroom, which we are familiar also, and it makes our classroom creative, right? So once the child is in a creative process, so what is the outcome? The outcome is imagine, examine, and perceive. He will start perceiving the knowledge, he will start imagining, and once he will start imagining, so definitely he or she will start analyzing also. Once he will analyze, then he will reach to some certain points, he will reach to certain opinions, he will reach to certain perception, and that's what we want. We want our child to become thoughtful, right? He will start exploring, he will start experimenting on the things or the opinion, whatever he has generated in his mind, and then on the basis of the results, you can say that he will start crafting, he will start creating, he will start reflecting the thoughts, he will start discussing with others, he will start sharing also. So this is the way or the process how our mind works, a mind of a human works. Now let's talk about this art, music. What are the art? Dance, theater, how we are going to involve? Let's talk with the art first. We can involve draw, coloring, printing, to make a poster, to make a logo, to make a sculptures, boxes, clay, something else, so on and so forth. Music, rhythm, singing of a song, making of a song, make up lyrics, the rhyming schemes, the familiar tune, and so on, right? Dance, to first of all to understand the lyrics, to depicting the meaning of the song, to learn about the shapes, to learn about the flexibility, to catch the beats, the music, the story, the overall meaning, to depicting the meaning, and so on and so forth, right? To perform solo, to perform in a solo, to perform in a group, and so on. Theater, relationship, understanding, coordination, right? Memorization of dialogues. Many things are there, to how to recite a poem, how to deliver the dialogues. Many more things are there. Now, basically, when we talk about English, that English depends, or you can say that there are only 4 aspects on which we focus. That is listening, speaking, reading, and writing. This is all about English, right? So, how a teacher should plan? How a teacher should plan once entering in the classroom or before entering in the classroom? How we plan? How as a teacher we plan? What are those things which we love to keep in our mind while preparing our lesson to be delivered in the classroom? What are those things? First of all, we decide for the session to be brainstorming for children. We take a pre-knowledge also, right? We want involvement of the students, right? So basically we focus that what do I need to know? First of all, we will start collecting the information from the which is related with the unit, that what I need to learn first, what I need to know, how I'm going to prepare my lesson in such a way that the student will start becoming interesting in that. Then where can I find information? As we know that now it's not such a big deal to search various things, right? We have a lot of search engines, we have multiple platforms, we have dictionaries, we have number of websites through which we can collect the resources or the things to make our teaching learning process more interesting. The next thing is that then after going through multiple things at the same time, we have to think that now it's time to remove and to choose odd man out. What are important things and what are not important for us and for our students also. Now, after collecting all the things, we need to organize, right? How I can go with this, which should be the first thing to be implemented in the classroom or to be imposed in the classroom. Now, after collecting all the things or after gathering all the things, we need to prepare in a sequence. We need to, you can say that, a platform, you can say that, through which we can, prepare our presentation and so on. Now, at the end, once we have delivered our lesson, we are leading towards the evaluation. Now we will start asking questions to the students that what they have learned, right? So this is the way how we prepare our lesson, all of us knows, right? So now the next thing is that, what are the main things on which we focus more? We want, first of all, let's talk about the contextual factors, that it's very important the teacher is very much knowledgeable, skillful, right? The features of sitting, how to relate with the environment, the availability of the resources, and to make it fruitful and sustainable for students. And what are the key? I don't want to go through all these things. Let's because we are running out of time very soon. Now let's talk about the key students, what we expect our students to provide us. Of course, they can achieve very good score in their examination. Their cognitive approach, the sense of understanding and thinking could be developed. Their emotional and social skills could be developed. Their behavioral outcomes should be very positive, right? And they could lead to their mind towards an artistic method of thinking. This is just a picture of a classroom. I have downloaded it from somewhere, but what it shows, it is related with, can somebody tell me? This is a picture of what? A child has prepared, yes, somebody wants to answer? A child has prepared a board on which he has written all the letters, all the words which are related with such letters, right? But still, at that stage, We are not teaching him or her anything. We have not instructed him that you are only forced or supposed to write a single letter word. You are forced to write a 3-letter word and so on and so forth, right? First of all, try to assemble the words together. Try to gather the words which are related with such letters. So how we are going to utilize? How we are going to utilize it while teaching? We can ask our students to go to with one by one with a word and to prepare one to frame a sentence. We can ask the meanings also. We can ask him how we are going to frame, what is the use, and so on and so forth, right? Now let's have a look on some examples and the activities, of course, in which about which we are waiting. So first of all, my favorite things, you can prepare your own rhyming scheme, you can say that, or you can prepare your own lines, or you can frame your own sentences which you're going to give to your students to add on their favorite things in that. For example, when the dog, it's not when the dog, so what dog, what is the trait of a dog? It barks, it bites, right? So here we are talking about the traits of a person or of an animal or anything. So in this way, we can prepare our own poem also, which we are going to deliver in the classroom, through which they are going to talk about their favorite things. Whenever I wake up in the morning, I love what? I love what? I love? I want answers. I love walking, right? Anyways, let's talk about some free time activities. How we are going to talk. Suppose that I have displayed this picture in on our smart board in our classroom, and here I instructed my students that today we are going to talk about the free time activities. What are you going to do? What you love to do in your leisure time? So he will, once he will observe these pictures, so he will start relating himself with these pictures, that yes, I love watching TV. No, I love taking photographs. This is my new skill or the trait which I'm looking forward to develop. No, I love to fly a kite. Who is going to waste their time? I prefer reading books. I love playing video games on mobile phones because my parents never prefer me or hand over their phone after this time period, right? And so on. So many things are there. So I can give our student to some time to think, to decide, and to frame their sentences in their mind, and then we can go for a discussion, or we can go to ask for their own opinions. That yes, excuse me, your name XYZ, what do you love to do in your free time? Ma'am, I prefer watching TV because I'm not instructed by my parents to watch TV more than 1 hour, and so on and so forth. Ma'am, I am a very good painter. I love painting because I don't have a lot of time because I have to do plenty of homeworks. I have to finish my homework. So whenever I have free time, I I opt for my hobby. I go with that. So we can, in this way, we can, we can make our classroom interactive. We can ask our students to deliver their opinion or to deliver their, and in this way, what is going to be, it means that they are involved somewhere. They will start using their mind. They will start thinking, yeah, what they prefer, what they love to do. They will start thinking about their hobby also. They try to correlate that what are the pros and cons of that activity. And then they will start raising their confidence to develop, to deliver the things, whatever they have thought in their mind. So it will, it can be a good way to interact with the students. Another thing is that we can talk about the jobs and occupations. It means that we can tell them, yes, suppose that we have selected 9 students of a classroom, and suppose you are the teacher, you'll be plumber, you'll be waiter, you'll be dentist, you'll be policeman, and in these certain points, we have told them that you can use these points in your sentences, and you have to prepare a speech and on the jobs and occupation of that particular role which I have provided you. So what the student will start doing, he will start thinking about the task. What is the role of a teacher? He will start correlating how a teacher enters in the classroom, who is his favorite teacher, how he speaks, how he talks, how he works, how he delivers the chapter, how he narrates the story, and so on and so forth. He will start thinking about the task and the roles played by the teacher. He will start thinking about the places, how the teacher is relating. He will start thinking about the traits, I mean, the soft skills of the teachers. I mean, the feature, what he likes most about the teacher. I think that he is very clever. He is very, practical. He always gives us number of examples. He is very patient. He never shouts any child on any child. He is very helpful. Whenever I asked him for help, he's always eager and ready to cooperate with me. And so many things are there. So once the student will start thinking, so what he is doing indirectly, he is developing a sense of understanding, a thought to generate. He will start exploring the various aspects, how a teacher enters, how he walks, how he talks, how he writes on the blackboard. Because as a teacher, we know very well that the students point out on a very single, on all each and every single specific things, right? So he will start relating with the things. He observes you after the classes also. Once you are roaming in the corridor area, then also that the students pay attention on the way of walking, how the teacher walks. He walks very fastly, right? And so on. So in this way, we can help our student to think, to decide, to speak, to judge, and again, we can make our classroom interactive. So free time activities of the kids. What we have to do, you can call it a picture reading task also. Suppose that I have displayed this picture on my smart board and I ask my students to select, match the pictures with the activity. I asked my students, so what he will start doing? First of all, he will be very attentive. He will be very attentive to be the first to solve it. He will start exploring for the words. Then he will start exploring through the pictures that which, yeah, he is playing number 3. Number 3 is doing what? They are riding a horse, play horse, right? What they are doing? The second one, they are skipping a rope. So in this way, while giving them such pictures, while displaying such pictures in the classroom, we are engaging their mind to observe the picture carefully, to go through the words carefully. Suppose that if the child is going through the 8th or 9th, the picture here, then what is this? If he or she is unable to understand, so definitely he will raise his hand and he will ask you, ma'am, what the child are doing, what the children are doing. So you will, they are playing sack race. Okay, so this is known as sack race. So he will become aware also about the words, right? So again, their mind is involved, absolutely. Now another way is to converse, how we can involve conversation. We can prepare a question, we can prepare a list of questions, conversation questions for our students, and we can talk about, suppose that we are going to have our classes after this winter break. So we have prepared a list of questions to be asked in every class once we are going to enter in the classroom. So how was your holidays? Definitely you will get answers. It was awesome, ma'am. No, ma'am, I felt a lot of cold there. The weather was not that much merciful. Okay, have you gone somewhere? Have you visited any place? No, ma'am, I prefer living at home only. Yes, I prefer visiting the place of my grandparents. Right. So what did you eat? Ma'am, winter season is full of green herbs and so I love eating so many things, right? So whenever you will start asking a question to a child, ask them to raise their hand and answer. So again, once the teacher is asking such questions, first of all, they will create a rapport in the classroom. The children or the students will feel friendly with the teacher. Okay, he's not teaching us right now. He's just asking about the holidays or the vacation, how we spent our days. Okay, it's just a general conversation. So definitely he or she will start taking interest to take part, and everybody is eager to express their feelings or their thoughts. Everybody, we are in search of we are in search of the opportunity to deliver our opinion. So he or she will take part. Have you visited any countries? What were your worst holidays? What were your best friends' holidays? Was it your best holiday ever? So many. Here I have prepared, collected 35 questions to be asked after the vacation is getting over. Now, suppose you are teaching them prepositions, and as we are instructed to relate art or to involve art in teaching, so how we are going to teach them prepositions? It's very difficult, no? We just have to teach them preposition of place, time, and position. So how we are going to do that? We can display such pictures on our smart boards. We can ask our students to observe the picture first, right? We can ask our students to observe the picture first. What he is doing? Who is he? Come on, answer me. Who is he? He's a ringmaster. Okay. So where he works? He works in a circus. Okay. So what he is doing right now? The ringmaster works in the circus. In the circus. On the circus. What? Here we are teaching him preposition of. Nobody will answer. All right, no problem.
Place.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Fine. So in this way, once we are displaying such pictures in our classroom, so students will start observing and taking interest. Okay, and because this is a cartoon, so children love watching cartoons, right? So it will draw their attention also. It will look very, interesting, creative, funny, and at the same time, we are teaching the prepositions of places, right? Now, another thing is that you can display such picture to your students, and you can ask them to observe the picture carefully for 5 minutes or whatever the time. According, you can differentiate your time according to your classes, and then you can ask them to go through all the dialogues first, right? Then you can ask your students to prepare a story. You can ask your students that, what do you think? This can be, what is happening in this picture? So they will start reading. They will start going through the dialogues. I want you all also to go through these dialogues. Have a look. Give at least 2 minutes of time at a glance. Just go through the dialogues and then let me know what is happening in this picture. Are we getting any idea, any clue that this might be happening? Once you are done observing, then please answer. I'm waiting. Which kind of, okay, so let me proceed. Which kind of questions we can frame? We can frame how many girls are there in this picture? Once we hide displaying the picture, how many girls were there in the picture? Ma'am, there were 2 girls. Can you tell me the names of those 2 girls? Yes, ma'am. Tilly and her friend Maya. Okay. And who is the third person? Ma'am, he was the dad. Okay. Of whom? Of Maya. Okay. What they were doing? What they were thinking to do? What they were planning? Right. Can you please prepare a story from this picture? What do you think? What it could be there in that story? So once you are showing them a part of the picture and ask your students to reach to the conclusion or to go further with the rest part of the story, so they will start thinking about the picture. They will start memorizing the points. They will start collecting the points. They will start framing some sentences. They will start involving more characters in the story, and at the end, you will come with a wonderful outcome, and prepared by various students of your class. And in that way, you can come across through various intellectual minds, creative minds. You can see that you are getting number of stories, multiple stories, having multiple conclusions, having multiple characters also. So it will help you to understand the individual differences of the students also, and according to that, you can prepare your own lessons to be delivered, and you can help your students to achieve their individual needs, right? Again, the same thing. What do you think? This is after once you have displayed this picture on the screen, you can ask your students, what can you? This picture is of which scene? What is the scene? Ma'am, this is a fete. Okay. How many characters are there? Ma'am, at first there were 3 characters and then another one joined them. What they were doing there? Ma'am, there was a girl child and she was standing with her mother. Okay. And who can be this another person? Ma'am, he could be the shopkeeper. All right. So what the child is asking for? Ma'am, I think that the child wants to go for a ride. All right. So what her mother said? Ma'am, her mother said that she doesn't have that much of money. Okay. When the 4th character introduced in the picture, ma'am, in the 4th picture, all right, in this way, and then you can hide, you can show, you can display, you can frame as many as questions you want to, right? And then you can ask your students to prepare a story, isn't it? Okay, let's go to the next picture. This you can display such picture in your classroom, and you can ask your students to go through the picture first. The first picture is of a truck driver. Okay, the second is of a teacher. The third is of a waitress, and the fourth is a pilot. Okay, so what do you want to be in your life, ma'am? Among all these 4, no, ma'am, I want to become a teacher, or either teacher or a pilot. Okay, you want to become a teacher? Why teacher? Because, ma'am, this is a very noble profession. My favorite teacher is this, my idol one is this, I love this action, that activity, and so on. So the student will start relating that why he or she wants to opt an occupation of a teacher. If somebody wants to become a pilot, because, ma'am, once I visited the airport, I have seen a pilot. He was looking very, attractive. He was looking very, confident. So I
नहीं 5 हम जाएंगे, हम ऊपर जाएंगे नहीं, नीचे से आगे यहाँ जितना
kindly mute yourself.
5 मिनट में आवा ही बा हाँ तब
Ravindra sir, please mute yourself.
Participants, please mute yourself.
Okay, the next, suppose somebody wants to say that, madam, I want to become a pilot. Why you want to become a pilot? Ma'am, this profession attracts me the most. Ma'am, I want to fly high in the sky. I prefer flying because I'm not a kite, because I'm not a bird. So I prefer flying. Okay, I want to go with a profession of a hotel management, I want to, and so on and so forth. Don't you want to become a truck driver? No, because it's very tiring job. It's full of responsibilities. It's full of attention. You have to focus always. You have to focus while driving and so on. So they will start relating why they want to be that, why they don't want to be that. So once they are going through this debate in their mind, so they are developing themselves as a teacher, as a mentor. You can guide them with some points also, right? Next is that writing practice. It is very important. What do you love? What are those things which you always love to do? Always. Okay, so here I'm specifically teaching them a single word which is very useful. Always. I always eat my breakfast. I always play games. I always disturbs my the elder sister. So he or she will start thinking, what are those things or what are those activities which he or she prefers doing always, all the time. At this time, then you can give some time to your children, and then you can ask your child to write those things, what they always do in the classroom, what they always do at their home, what they always do with their friends, and so many things, right? So this could be a good source of writing practice also once you're going through these kinds of activities in your classrooms. So you are somewhere indirectly you are teaching your students to practice for writing. You are teaching your students to involve their mind in observing or recalling their activities. Once they will start recalling their activities, so they will be capable of judging also at the same time that I always do this is not right, but still I do, so I have to write. So once they have drafted on a piece of paper, so you will start telling them, do you really disturbs your sister? Yes, ma'am, I do. This is not right. You should not do this. So indirectly or directly, you are teaching them moral lessons also. You are getting to know about the traits of the child also. This can be a good writing the names of the jobs. Again, that can be related with the occupation. You can show this picture to your students, and you can ask your students to write the names or the occupation of these jobs. Okay. They will start thinking, they will start observing what he is doing. He is cooking something. No, here he is cooking something. He probably be the chef, right? He could be the chef. Who is she? She is, I think she is a teacher, right? Who is she? I think she's a saleswoman. Okay. Who is he? He could be the sweeper. No, he is holding a mop in his hand. So he will start observing the picture very carefully, and then because he has to prove himself, no, that he has a very good observation skill, because he have to represent himself or herself in front of his teacher. So he never wants him to degrade his confidence or his presence. The next thing is that by providing them the you can ask your students to prepare the shopping list. So suppose you can give them such instructions: read the conversation between Amy and her mom. Write the list of foods Amy and her father are going to buy in the supermarket on the paper bag. Fine. So suppose that these are the conversation which you have provided or which you have given to your students. What they will start doing? They will start going through the conversations one by one. They will start understanding the overall gist or the purpose of the conversation. Then you can ask that, now tell me those 10 things which here Amy is asking her father to purchase. He will start searching for the things. He will start noting down here. Now you can frame some more questions on the following sentences. What is the mom cooking for dinner? Now you will start asking or observing. They will start observing that Amy was asking for this thing. No, he went for the purchase of vegetables. So definitely her mother is cooking vegetable today. So he will start framing the sentence and he will answer. So this can be an example. Now you can prepare your own also such a list. You can ask your student that, yesterday, have you observed your mother talking to your father, asking him to purchase some items from the supermarket? Yes, ma'am. Yesterday, my mother was asking my father to purchase something. Okay, can you recall those things? What are these? What are those items? So what he will start doing? He will start recalling for the items. He will start recalling. He will start writing in the shopping list, and then again you can frame some more questions to ask or to answer them to write. What is the mom cooking for dinner today? Ma'am, yesterday my mother told my father to bring beans, cluster beans. So today my mother is cooking cluster beans for dinner. Okay. When will dinner be ready? Ma'am, my mother usually prepares dinner around 9 o'clock. All right. What vegetable does mom need for the salad? Ma'am, my mother prefer broccoli, spinach, beetroot, cucumber, and so on and so forth. All right. What desserts does mom mention? So, ma'am, my mother was not mentioned about any dessert. So definitely we are not going with a dessert today. Okay, what is the family going to do after dinner? Ma'am, we prefer walking for 10 minutes and then we go to sleep. All right. So if you're framing such questions to be asked to your students, so what you are doing? You are involving, or you are asking your students to involve in their family. You are asking your students to involve with their parents, with their father, with their mother. You are asking your students to observe the things which is happening at their home, right? And in this way, you are teaching also. You are developing that social and emotional quotient also, and the child is developing overall. Now here, suppose you have shown such pictures to them. Okay, everybody is familiar, and you can ask your students to describe these animals on the basis of their shape, size, color, and appearance, and breed also, suppose. So if they will start doing it, they will start observing the picture. Okay, this is a picture of a dog. What is the size of a dog? What is the shape of the dog? What is the color? What is the breed, and what is the speed of the dog? So once they will start observing all the traits of that particular animal, so indirectly what you are doing, you are teaching them describing words, right? So if we are going to prepare our worksheets in such a way, such a manner, then definitely the students will start taking interest to learn, right? He will start taking interest to prepare to prepare the sentences. He will start comparing among all these pictures or among all these animals. He will start differentiating the other animals. He will start comparing also, and you are teaching them the traits of also of the animals. Once you can ask, you can frame more questions also, where these breeds love to where husky, suppose you have taken one example of husky breed of a dog, where they love to live, ma'am, because husky is a breed who loves to live in a cold region, because it contains a lot of fur on his body. So you are exploring, you are teaching him the various things about specific animals also, right? If you're talking about elephants, you can ask, you can relate with a zoo, you can relate with some circus also, you can relate, you're teaching them shape, size, color, speed, so on. Homophones, suppose you are teaching them homophones, so how you're going to teach them homophones? You can prepare your own. Wait for a minute, I'm coming from outside, okay? Have you waited today? Many questions. Have you gone for a sightseeing? What is the site? What is this site? They are the, I have kept my book there. It is theirs. You can relate while teaching, while giving them some examples. You can teach them homophones also. You can prepare some list of questions through which they can relate, they can compare, and in this way, indirectly, you are teaching them the difference between the same homophones or the same words which sound similar, right? She has lost what? She has lost weight. She has lost weight. That's why she looks great. Okay. I had to wait for this call, so I missed the bus. Similarly, once you are teaching them, once you have prepared such worksheets, then you are teaching them a great way of learning and to differentiate among such words which sound similar. The way to teach them adverbs, you can teach them, once you are asking questions, how, once you are getting the answer of how the teacher is teaching patiently, how the nurse is caring, how the nurse is taking care lovingly, right? When, if you're asking such questions, how, when, how often, where, how much, how often you love eating chocolates, always, never, sometimes, rarely, and so on. Where do you live? Where do you live? Downstairs the building, there, at that place, up, and so on. How much? How much? How much do you need? How much time do you need? Much time? Little time? Few time? What? You can teach them the difference also of the adverbs, and which can describe actions. So in this way, you are describing such words while correlating with some examples. Yes, you're teaching them adverbs. Now, if you have prepared such worksheets to be given to your children to solve, the verbs to be in the worksheet. I am a teacher. I is a teacher. I are a teacher. What? I am a teacher. How? Why? Because here I am teaching auxiliary verb. There's a difference. So I'm going to teach them that there's a difference between the main verb and the auxiliary verb. Here am, is, am, are auxiliary verbs. Okay. So in this way, you can frame your worksheets, prepare your worksheets also to be given to the students. Now, suppose you are teaching them conjunctions, or you're teaching them the use of either or, neither, nor, not only, but also, both, and, whether, or, no sooner than, if, or then. Suppose you have to teach this. So how you're going to rate? You will start framing first such sentences which could relate with such examples, and then you can ask your children also to prepare some more examples in the same manner and in the same structure. Public places, suppose you have shown this picture, to your children, and you can ask them to observe the picture carefully and to let you know about the places, which are these. Fine. So how they are going to decide? If they have someday visited a theater, so they probably can tell you that this is the picture of a theater, right? You can give them aid box also for their help. because again, the students comes from various community and backgrounds, so it is not mandatory for all the students to that they have visited all these places. So you can give them, you can prepare an aid box also, and you can hand over to them. They can first go through these words, they can have a look on the pictures, and then they will start telling you that, ma'am, this is a picture of a petrol pump. Oh, really? So what happens at the petrol pump, ma'am? So on and so forth. Again, you can choose any picture randomly, and you can ask your students to describe about the picture. This is related with the public places also. So indirectly, what you're doing, indirectly, you are asking your students to speak. You're asking your students to think. You're asking your students to observe. You're asking your students to relate their social values or the social knowledge, and you're asking your students to recall the memory, recall from the memories if they have visited such places, and so on. So basically, you are asking your child to think widely. School rules. Once you have prepared such, suppose you have prepared such worksheets to be given to your students. So what is the basic role of a monitor? Generally you hand over some of the works of your class to the monitor, prepare a class pass, and ask students to take it along with themselves whenever they are leaving of the class. So once the monitor is preparing that school pass or the class pass for the students, so what are those things which he or she is going to keep in his or her mind? He will start thinking for the school rules. He will start thinking for those things which his or her teacher has told him to do, to not to do, right? So do's and don'ts, he will first prepare the do's and don'ts of the schools, or which should be implemented in the school premises, and so on. So once he is preparing that class pass for the class, then at the same time he will start thinking that about all the rules and regulations of the school. So he will you can prepare some subject.
You have to sum up within 5 minutes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. It's 10:47. Okay. So in this way, you can, once you have prepared such worksheets, so you are teaching your students what are do's and don'ts, which could be done or followed by the students in the school premises. So indirectly, you're teaching them the school rules also. This is the moral values also, right? You can prepare the pair of words. You can ask your students to prepare some pair of words which usually, or which is very familiar. Out and in, है ना? Fair and lovely, hot and cold, cats and dogs, lock and key. So you can ask your students to prepare such words. They will start relating pros and cons, ups and downs, positivity and negativity. So they will start preparing for the pair of words, and then they will then ask your students to prepare some sentences on the basis of such words which they have prepared. You can give some worksheets to your child. Suppose you have written some names of some authors, you have taken some names of some famous people from various backgrounds. Take Mahatma Gandhi, take some names of the freedom fighters, take some names of the scientists, and then write another column with their works. Write the second column, prepare with auxiliary verbs, and so on. So in this way, you are forcing your students to match, and ask your students to match all three columns. What you are teaching them to frame proper sentences, correct sentences. You're teaching them to correlate, to become aware about the famous people first. They will start exploring about that person. They will start knowing more. You're expanding his or her knowledge about the famous people around the world. You can teach them the parts in a whole. Suppose you have shown such pictures to your child. What is this picture? This is a picture of a pizza. How many parts are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 parts are there. Is there any part missing? Yes, ma'am. 1 part is missing. So you are teaching them. The student will start framing sentences to answer. You are asking your children to count also at the same time. Which food item is this, ma'am? This is the pizza. Okay. So this food is related to which country, ma'am? This is an Italian cuisine. Okay. So at the same time, you taught your children the famous dish or the cuisine of Italy, the taste buds and the parts also, many more things. How many parts are there? the picture is of, ma'am, chocolate. Which chocolate is this, ma'am? This is Cadbury. Okay, so Cadbury, is it a brand? Yes, ma'am, this is a brand. So what are more items which this company produces, ma'am? This company produces chocolates, Bournvita, it means health drinks also, right? Cocoa powder also. Okay, so what are the uses of cocoa powder, ma'am? Cocoa powder is used to prepare many items. Okay, so at the same time, you are teaching them marketing strategies also, you are teaching them the products also, the product values also. So you're teaching your students the multiple aspects of the marketing skills, and you're making them think economically. Suppose, okay, so this is a, what is this, ma'am? This is a flag of which country? Of India. How many parts are there, ma'am? There are 3 parts. Okay, what are the colors, ma'am? 3 colors. What these colors represents? These colors represent these all things. Okay, how many sticks are there in this chakra? Okay, so this is the structure. This is a chakra. This symbol is taken from what? So at the same time, you are teaching them the thing which is related with polity. You are teaching them the moral values of the citizen. You are teaching why this flag was created in such a way. By using these tricolors, you are teaching all the moral values. You are leading your children towards at the time of freedom. You can correlate with the present, with the past. You are teaching your students to observe, to analyze, to compare. At the same time, you are teaching, and you're trying to develop his mind globally. Now again, rhyming, which is very important. Singing, you can prepare your own poem to be narrated or to be sung in your classroom. You can prepare your own rhyme schemes, intonations, tone, and you can ask your students to follow you. At the same time, you are teaching also, you are preparing your, suppose you have gone through this poem in your classroom. We recycle, yes we do, caring for our planet, you should do. Suppose I have just taken a very small example. Suppose you have just taken any of the poem like this. So what are you teaching? You're teaching English. Okay, fine. You are asking your children to think about how they can care for their planet. You're teaching their moral duties also. What are their moral duties as a human being, as a citizen? You can ask for more ideas to save their environment, and many more things you can ask them. You can prepare your own rhyme. You can ask your students to listen to that rhyme. You can prepare your own questions based on that. You can prepare some questions like, how many beats are there in the each line? So they will start counting. They will start answering you. What are those same rhyming words? They will start answering you, and so on and so forth. So you can differentiate the poem in such a way. You can take specific paragraphs or stanzas also of that poem, and then on the basis of that specific stanzas, you can prepare a set of questions to be asked. Shapes and patterns. Suppose you are teaching shapes and patterns. How many shapes are there? Man, there are 4 shapes. Okay, I just want to ask about this 4th shape. This is a shape of a cylinder. Okay, so what are those things which is available here around us of this shape? Ma'am, gas cylinder I have seen in the kitchen of my mother. So they will start, this is a shape of a cone. So they will quickly answer you, ma'am, cone comes in the variety of ice creams. Ma'am, this can be a picture of a pyramid also. This is a triangle, but ma'am, this is the dice. We usually use it to play Ludo. So on and so forth. So they will start correlating the things. Once you're, at the same time, you are teaching them shapes and patterns. Another side, you are teaching them to correlate the things which is available around them. Varli paintings. Suppose you have shown such picture to your child in the classroom. You can ask, in which shape this picture has been drawn? Ma'am, triangles. I can see triangles. I can see cones. I can see flowers. I can see dots. I can see many more things there. Okay. So this painting is related. This is the paint from of which state? Ma'am, this is the paint from of Maharashtra. Why this painting is famous? What are those essence? What are those plus points of Maharashtra? So basically, you are teaching them about a specific state, right? You are teaching them. You can ask your students also. Can you draw such painting? Yes, ma'am, we can draw. Ask your children to draw. So what I am talking about here, this is another activity which we can conduct in a classroom. What I'm talking about here, you can show 2 pictures. You can give 3 words and ask them to compare and then answer you. Is it a door handle? Am I talking about a door handle? I'm talking about a pep hole. What? I'm talking about a knee. I'm talking about a calf. Am I talking about ankle? So they will start comparing, they will start observing the picture, then they will select a specific word, they will start answering you in such a manner. What the picture is telling, again, picture reading. There's a picture of a boy, he's taking a cup of tea, maybe it is 9 o'clock, maybe it is of the morning time, because at dinner nobody prefers to have a cup of coffee. There's a apple, there is an apple on the table. He might be going to eat an apple after having a cup of coffee, and so on and so forth. So you will ask your students to read the picture, observe the picture. You will ask your students to go through. You can show a picture. You can ask your students to observe the difference. Come on, find out 7 differences from the picture. He will start observing, where is that, what is missing? This is missing, office is not here. He will start observing, he will start comparing. This is a picture of what? Ma'am, I think this is a fish. No, this is not a fish. A fish never looks like this. These are the fish, but this is not a fish. So he will start observing the pictures also. You can give them many pictures to differentiate. You can teach them the differentiation or the description of on the basis of appearance, of their height, structures, general appearance, and so on and so forth. At the same time, once you are teaching them once you are comparing with the height, the general appearance, you are teaching them the communities of various world, right? Of various countries. The people of India or the Asian countries are of such skin tone. The people of North Indians are of such skin tone. The people of South Indians, south part of the country is of such skin tone. They are usually taller. They are usually shorter in size and height, and so on and so forth. So you are teaching, you are correlating the various parts of the world. You're correlating the various parts of your country, and then you're teaching them to compare and to learn also. Suppose you have shown such picture, you can ask for their daily routine also. You can ask what the boy is doing. You can ask for them. Suppose you're teaching them question words, how they can frame questions. So you can prepare such a chart for your students to give them some words to help to assist them with some words, so they can go with which will help them to frame interrogative sentences. You can talk about the computer parts, because this is a techno-friendly word. This is a technological word, so we have to prepare our students in such a manner that they will be aware about all the parts of the computer. So how it is possible? Suppose I have displayed some such pictures of various parts of the computer. Ask your students to prepare a crossword puzzles based on the given on the number. Here they will start preparing. Now you can ask, what is the CPU used for? What is known as, ma'am, this is known as the brain of the computer. So they will start correlating. Suppose for the very beginners, you have shown such worksheet. You can ask your students to prepare 3-letter word. You can ask your students to observe the cartoons, characters. So here is a video, but I have just 2 minutes left, so I don't want to go through this 2 video. If you will tell me, so I just want you to show 1 video, if you will allow me. Only 1 video I just want to show you, if you will allow me to show.
Ma'am, it's already 10:58.
Okay, fine, no issue, sir. It's okay. So here it's time to wrap up my session. So it is all about art integration. I hope that all of us leads to a conclusion that why art integration is so much important, why the CBSE has forced so much to draw our attention towards art integrated learning, and how we can develop our students creatively, how we can connect our students to the various aspects of the world, how we can approach our teaching towards understanding and towards the evaluation of the various aspects. So thank you. I'm done here. I'm going to stop sharing. Thank you so much. I hope it was fruitful.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Apurva ma'am, for such a beautiful and
very nice session, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much for patience listening. I know it is very difficult.
But it's very good, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Ma'am, Rita Thakur. Rita Thakur, ma'am, please, if you are listening me.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's your time to start your session.
Good.
You are already
Yes, sir. Fine, sir. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Honorable ARO sir, respected fellow master trainers, and all the participants.
Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir. Good morning. Just let
Good
me-
morning.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, sir. I'm going to present here. I'm going to share my screen. Santosh sir. Just 1 minute, sir. 1.
शेयर पे क्लिक करिए
Yes.
शेयर पे क्लिक करिए ना
Here I have clicked.
हाँ क्लिक करिए बस हो गया शेयर पे क्लिक करिए शेयर साउंड
Okay. Here.
शेयर साउंड पे क्लिक करिए यहाँ पे टिक हाँ अब शेयर करिए
Yes, ma'am. We are able to see your PPT.
Okay.
ये स्टार्टिंग भी
Okay. So, my topic is effective communication skills. Moving to the next slide. There are skills you need to make the most out of life. There are things you are so good at that set you apart from others and would only manifest in the face of challenges of life. That means the skills which you have, the skills that you possess will be visible when you will face challenges. These are skills, it takes skills to succeed, and success takes action. To take appropriate actions to succeed, you need skills. Certain skills are specific to each field and are more or less relevant to individuals depending on which of the skills the individual prioritizes at particular points in his life due to culture, beliefs, age, and life circumstances. Broadly speaking, it could be very difficult to go through life if you have not mastered some skills. Skills can serve as powerful lubricants, helping you overcome the myriad of challenges life offers. What is a skill? First, we need to understand what is skill. A skill is a set of knowledge and experiences needed to perform a task. It is the ability to do something well. To make the most out of life, there are certain life skills you should develop that would help you accomplish the myriads of tasks you will encounter through life. WHO lists the 10 core life skills, strategies, and techniques as problem solving, critical thinking, effective communication skills, decision making, creative thinking, interpersonal relationship skills, self-awareness building skills, empathy, and coping with stressful emotions. Here, today's session is on effective communication skill. So now I would like to ask you, what is communication? What do you mean by communication? Yes, please answer. Anyone? What is communication? What do you mean by communication?
Transfer of thoughts.
When participant people, they transfer or share their thoughts or ideas with each other, this is known as communication. More than two persons.
Yes, sir. Your good name, sir?
Nisar Ahmed, madam.
Thank you, sir. Wonderful answer. Very good. Let's move on. Communication is a process by which information is exchanged between individuals through a common system of symbols, signs, or behavior. Every communication involves one sender, a message, and a recipient. This may sound simple, but communication is actually a very complex subject. The transmission of the message from sender to recipient can be affected by a huge range of things. This include our emotions, the cultural situation, the medium used to communicate, and even our location. The complexity is why good communication skills are considered so desirable by employers around the world. Accurate, effective, and unambiguous communication is actually extremely hard. Ambiguous. Life is about communication. If you want to connect effectively with others and to complete a task, you need to be able to communicate. Communication is essential for relationships to be sustained. Every individual needs to develop the skills of writing, speaking, and listening to be able to work with others and accomplish a task. Effective communication will help you in decision making and problem solving. So what is effective communication? We have just discussed what is communication. Now, what is effective communication? When can the communication be called effective? Anyone? What is effective communication? What do you mean by effective communication? Please answer. Yes, Ajay Sharma sir, do you want to answer? Yes, sir. Yes, sir, please.
Communication can be defined the ability to convey information to another effectively.
Your sound is not clear, sir. Voice is echoing, sir.
Actually, ma'am, I want to say that effective communication can be defined as the ability to speak, convey information effectively and efficiently. That is effective communication.
No.
When
Effectively,
get benefited, when they give responses after listening from the listener side. When a speaker speaks and a listener listens and he gives responses effectively, it means that it is a kind of effective communication. If the listener he does not give response, so we can say that it is not effective communication.
yes, sir. Your name, sir? Good name, sir? Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
And the request of other person that may be.
Voice is echoing. Am I audible clearly?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Effective communication is about more than just exchanging. Effective communication is about more than just exchanging information. It is not just exchanging information. It is about understanding the emotion and intentions behind the information, as well as being able to clearly convey a message. You need to also listen in a way that gains the full meaning of what is being said and makes the other person feel heard and understood. Is it clear now? Effective communication sounds like it should be instinctive, but all too often when we try to communicate with others, something goes astray. That is, whatever we want to convey, we cannot convey clearly. we say one thing, the other, and sometimes we say something and the other person hears something else. And misunderstanding, frustration, and conflicts arise. This can cause problems in our home, school, and work relationships. For many of us, communicating more clearly and effectively requires learning some important skills. Whether you are trying to improve communication with your spouse, kids, boss, or co-workers, learning these skills can deepen your connections to others, build greater trust and respect, and improve teamwork, problem solving, and your overall social and emotional relations. Now, we will discuss about characteristics of effective communication. Moving on to the next slide. Is my screen visible, sir?
Yes, ma'am, it's visible.
Okay. These are the characteristics of effective communication. You can see on the screen. Clear message. The message which the sender wants to convey must be simple, easy to understand, and systematically framed to retain its meaningfulness. It must be clear. Message must be clear. Then next characteristic, correct message. The information communicated must not be vague or false in any sense. It must be free from errors and grammatical mistakes. Complete message. Communication is the best for decision making. If the information is incomplete, it may lead to wrong decisions. Next is precise message. What is precise message? The message sent must be short and concise to facilitate straightforward interpretation and take the desired steps. Next characteristic of effective communication is reliability. The sender must be sure from his end that whatever he or she is conveying is right by his or her knowledge. Even the receiver must have trust on the sender and can rely on the message sent. Coming to the next characteristic of effective communication, consideration of the recipient. The medium of communication and other physical settings must be planned, keeping in mind the attitude, language, knowledge, education level, and position of the receiver. Next is the sender's courtesy. The message so drafted must reflect the sender's courtesy, humbleness, and respect towards the receiver. Now, we will talk about the different effective communication skills. Just now, is it visible to you all? Effective communication skills.
Yes, madam.
Okay, sir. These are the effective communication skills. Observance. A person must possess sharp observing skills to gain more and more knowledge and information. A person must have observing skills so that he can understand various things and he can gather information and knowledge. Next is clarity and brevity. The message must be drafted in simple words and it should be clear and precise to create the desired impact over the receiver. Next is listening and understanding. The most crucial skill in a person is that he must be a good, alert, and patient listener. He must be able to understand and interpret the message well. Next skill is emotional intelligence. A person must be emotionally aware and should have the ability to influence others from within. Self-efficacy. A person must have the ability to produce a desired or intended result. She must have faith in himself and his capabilities to achieve the objective of communication. Self-confidence. Being one of the essential communication skills, confidence enhances the worthiness of the message being delivered. Next is respectfulness. Delivering a message with courtesy and respecting the values, beliefs, opinions, and ideas of the receiver is the essence of effective communication. Next skill of effective communication is non-verbal communication. To connect with the receiver in a better way, the sender must involve the non-verbal means of communication too. Okay, what is non-verbal communication? Is there anyone who can say?
When we communicate with our body language.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Non-verbal communication includes gesture, facial expressions, eye contact, posture, etc. Means which we show through our body language. Selection of the... Yes, sir.
Proper gesture posture for effective communication, madam.
Sorry, sir.
Proper gesture and posture is also required for.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's very important to understand body language. It is very important to understand the message fully and clearly. It is important to understand the gesture, posture, facial expression of the person who is communicating. Then only the message can be understood clearly. Next is selection of the right medium. Choice of the correct medium for communication is also a skill. It is necessary to select an appropriate medium according to the situation, priority of the message and the receiver's point of view, etc. Last, but the most important skill of effective communication is providing feedback. Effective communication is always a two-way process. A person must take as well as give feedback to bring forward the other person's perspective too. Means without feedback, the purpose of communication will not occur, will not be fulfilled. Next, we will talk about barriers of effective communication. There are certain obstacles which sometimes hinder the process of communication, making it less useful for the sender as well as the receiver. These barriers are categorized under three groups. Let's understand that. Barriers, first is barriers involving words, second is barriers involving people's background, third is physical barriers. Barriers involving words. Words play an essential role in the process of communication. Any disturbance or distraction in the way a message is presented may lead to miscommunication. Following are the different types of communication barriers related to words. Language, it is a medium of communication. If the sender is making excessive use of technical terms, it will become difficult for the receiver to understand the message clearly. Ambiguity and overuse of abstractions. Even if the message is presented in a non-realistic or vague context involving a lot of notions, the receivers won't be able to connect with the idea properly. Disorganized message, when the words are not organized systematically to form a powerful message, it loses its efficiency and meaning. When information is overloaded, the effectiveness of communication reduces when a person keeps on speaking for an extended period, thus leading to the receiver's exhaustion, who won't be able to keep track of everything that is conveyed. Now, we will talk about barriers involving people's background. People belong to different backgrounds, that is, culture, education level, gender, etc. These attributes majorly affect the efficiency of the communication process. It involves different related obstacles like attitudinal differences. At times, people are resistant to understand or change their mind when they have said their views about a particular topic. Their attitude obstructs meeting the purpose of the communication. Then demographic differences, the difference in age, generation, gender, status, tradition, etc. creates a lack of understanding among people and thus hinders the process of communication. Then lack of common experience or perspective. The experiences of a person develops their perspective of seeing things in a particular way. This perspective varies from person to person. Therefore, it becomes difficult for a receiver to relate with the sender's experience or views as he might have never gone through it himself. Next, jumping to conclusion also acts as a barrier to effective communication. Some people lack the patience of listening to others, and often they jump to conclusions between the communication. Means when the sender means when the communicator, when someone is saying something, the listener jumps to conclusion without hearing the speaker fully or completely, thus neglecting the motive of the message. Now, what physical barriers? What are physical barriers? Physical barriers include physical distance. When people communicate over long distances, they miss out the non-verbal aspect of communication. Since the gestures and expressions of the receiver cannot be interpreted. Next physical barrier is noise. The environment or the communication system sometimes involve unwanted noise, which interrupts the process of communication, making it inefficient. In a noisy classroom, it becomes difficult for a teacher to teach, or the students who wants to pay attention or who wants to learn, they cannot hear or listen to the teacher properly in a noisy classroom. So noise acts as a barrier to effective communication. Physiological barriers. One of the most common barriers to effective communication is the physical disability of the people involved. Some of these are hearing impairment, poor eyesight, stammering, etc. Thus, we can say that the significant purpose of communication is to pass on the information to the receiver in such a manner that it does not lose its significance. At the same time, the message must be received in its purest form. Means the listener should also understand the message with which intention the communicator, the speaker, has conveyed the message. Now, Now we will discuss the process of communication. As we know that communication is a process. So next we will discuss the various elements of communication process. Yes. These are the process of communication. Am I audible, sir? Rakesh sir, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Please.
Okay, sir. Process of communication. Sender. Sender is the person who initiates the communication process or the person who intends to send out a message through a proper medium. And effective communication depends on the skills, knowledge, perception, and culture of the communicator. The communicator must know the receiving and understanding capabilities of the receiver. The only qualifications necessary for a source are an origin of information and an ability to transmit this information through a channel to a receiver. Next is message. A message is a key idea that the sender wants to communicate. It is a sign that elicits, that evokes the response of recipient. Communication process begins with deciding about the message to be conveyed. It must be ensured that the main objective of the message is clear. The messages can be verbal and non-verbal form. It is communicated to meet the needs of the receiver or audience. Communication doesn't take place when the recipient is not able to understand and interpret the message. Next element of process of communication is encoding. What is encoding? Encoding is the process of assembling the message, assembling the information, ideas, and thoughts into a representative design with the objective of ensuring that the receiver can comprehend it, the receiver can understand it. Communication is only established when it results in both the source and the receiver understanding the same information. People who are great communicators are great encoders. That means they can organize thoughts, information properly. They know how to present their message in a way that their audience can easily understand. They are also able to identify information that is superfluous, that is unnecessary, irrelevant, or even accidentally offensive and eliminate it in advance through anticipation. They understand what is wrong, what should not be sent, what is offensive, what is irrelevant. They identify it and then they do not send that message. Next is communication channel. The person who is interested in communicating has to choose the channel for sending the required information, ideas, etc. This information is transmitted to the receiver through certain channels, which may be either formal or informal. It is the means of the communication through which the message is delivered from the sender to the receiver of the message. The communication channel can be of any form. It can be of spoken, verbal, media, written, visual, etc. Success and failure of the communication depend on the right selection of the channel. Next process, decoding. Decoding means trying to understand what is being said. The person who receives the message or symbol from the communicator tries to convert the same in such a way so that he may extract its meaning to his complete understanding. This is decoding. Decoding is done by receiver or the listener. A listener when it is verbal communication. So the receiver of the message tries to understand the message, that is decoding. Both verbal and non-verbal cues help in creating the final message. It also includes how the recipient comprehends the message given by the sender and how he internalizes it. Means, depending on the nature of the receiver, he understands the message the way according to his mentality. Communication can be successful only when the recipient is able to decode and correctly interpret the message. A receiver is a person who receives the message or for whom the message is meant for. It is the receiver who tries to understand the message in the best possible manner in achieving the desired objective. A good communicator takes the receiver's preconceptions and frames of reference into consideration, how they will react, where common ground is shared, their sense of humor, their moral conduct, etc. When the sender of message keeps in mind these points while he organizes, while he sends his message. Feedback. Whatever the sender wanted to say or convey or communicate has reached to the receiver in the same way or not. It depends on feedback. Through feedback, we can know. Feedback is the main component of the communication process, as it permits the sender to analyze the efficacy of the message. It helps the sender in confirming the correct interpretation of message by the decoder. Feedback may be verbal or non-verbal, in form of smiles, shies, etc. It may take written form also in form of memos, reports, etc. Here we have discussed about the process of communication. Next, we will discuss about types of communication. There are 5 types of communication, that is verbal communication, non-verbal communication, written communication, listening, and visual communication. First, we will talk about verbal communication. What do you mean by verbal communication? Verbal communication. Which communication can be said verbal? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, verbal communication. What is verbal communication? When we speak, we are communicating much more than just the content of our words. Verbal communication is a communication through words, through language. When we speak, we communicate much more than just the content of our words. We are also using pitch and tone, as well as the level of formality we use to convey important subtext to the person we are speaking with. By carefully choosing how we use each of these aspects, we can be sure that our message is received exactly as intended. From greeting co-workers to leading a client pitch meeting to present in front of the entire company, verbal communication factors into our work lives in a massive way. Pitch When speaking, our emotions can often come into play. If we are angry, upset, or frustrated, our pitch might raise, conveying to the listener that we are experiencing a strong emotion. This is not necessarily a bad thing, but being able to control it allows you to make sure that you are effectively communicating. Tone, we all encounter situations that are frustrating or upsetting. Allowing that to change our tone from calm and professional to cut short or rude is always a mistake. Tone conveys a lot of information to the listener about how the speaker views them. To build positive interpersonal relationship in an office environment, we should all try to speak in a professional and respectful tone. Content. Of course, content is the most important part of verbal communication. What we say and the words we choose to use are crucial. While most office communication tends to be more informal than, for example, meeting a friend for coffee, we should make sure that we leave space for personal chats and relationship building. Next is non-verbal communication. As we have already discussed, what is non-verbal communication? It is communication through gesture, postures, body language, facial expression. We often use facial expressions as a way to communicate that we are listening and engaged with the person speaking. A smile or a quizzical expression all convey information to the speaker about how you are responding to their conversation. They work to help grease the conversation, keeping it going without having to say abruptly, verbally to confirm your continued interest. If you have ever spoken to a stone-faced person, you will know how important facial expressions are in a conversation. Posture, how you position yourself during a conversation is important. If you angle yourself towards the person with a relaxed and open posture, you invite them to engage with you more fully. Leaning back, crossing arms, or turning away from the speaker conveys a very different message and not a positive one. Just as no one wants to have a conversation with the back of someone's head, talking to someone with an extremely closed posture creates a more difficult and unpleasant conversation. Gestures and physical touch, depending on the person and their country of origin, they may use gestures and physical tone a lot or almost never. However, there is a lot of information conveyed in these actions. Eye contact, we all know that eye contact during conversation is very important. When someone is unable to maintain eye contact, we take this to mean that they are being untruthful, sincere, or not paying attention. Being able to maintain eye contact while listening will ensure that the speaker knows that you are present and engaged. While speaking, it shows that you are connecting with the listener, and in cases where you are delivering unpleasant news is doubly important. Next is written communication. Effective communication by writing is a massively important skill, especially as more people are working remotely and keep in touch throughout the workday through Skype, Slack, or other digital mediums, from a message to an email to a customer to a new employee's training guide. We write every day, and it is crucial that we understand how to do so effectively. In fact, as we increasingly rely on written communication, we are all faced with just how easy it is to create misunderstanding when using this medium. Unclear messages, the information gone missing, or an incorrect understanding of tone or content are all problems that happen with written communication every day. Sometimes the reader will misread the tone of a message because they are having a bad day or just had a run-in with an unpleasant person. No matter what, one important skill to have when relying on written communication is knowing when you need to stop using it. A simple call in almost all cases can solve these communication problems. Again, there should be clarity. It is a hard balance to strike between over and under explaining concepts. If you are writing instructions for a new employee, how detailed should you be? Of course, this depends on the person, but over explaining a little bit is much better than leaving the reader clueless. Written content tends to be a bit more formal than verbal. We should not use slang language. We should use proper punctuation and spelling. And remember that anything written, especially in the digital age, will remain forever. Even if we delete it, it remains. Next is visual communication. Visual has become the most used type of communication driven by social media, YouTube, and other platforms of the digital era. As more and more people and organizations use these channels of communication, the more we are used to and even dependent upon using visual communication to stand out in a crowded platform. Understanding that your visual communication must be in line with your brand and marketing, and knowing that there must be a developed and cohesive strategy for that is crucial. We rely heavily on visual communication. There are many ways that visual communication like charts, photographs, sketches, videographs, and even emojis can help improve the understanding of your message. Charts bring life to charts bring data to life, making it much easier to understand than presenting a long string of numbers. We rely on visuals to elevate our understanding of complex ideas. Again, content, while it is tempting to include visuals to add a bit of diversity and interest, you should consider what they bring to the table. Are they helpful? Are they necessary? Do they add to the overall message? Not all communications need to have visuals added, and in some cases they might detract from what you are trying to communicate. You should endeavor to make sure that you are not adding superficial or trivial things to your message, but rather strengthening your audience's understanding of it. Next is listening. The act of listening doesn't often make its way onto the list of types of communication. Active listening, however, is perhaps one of the most important types of communication, because if we cannot listen to the person who is communicating, we cannot effectively engage with them. Think about a negotiation. Part of the process is to assess what the opposition wants and needs. Without listening, it is impossible to assess that, which makes it difficult to achieve a win-win outcome. Here is an activity. Is my screen visible to you all? Just go through it, all of you, and answer. I want someone to read it aloud. Someone please read it loudly.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Please read it for
Are you an
for
active
everyone.
listener? Are you an active listener? Activity 10 minutes. I print out of story 2.
The story we need it.
Yes, pretend that you are a bus driver. It's your job to drive the math bus. One day you get on the bus and you start to count. At the first stop, 5 people get on your bus. At the next stop, 3 people get on and 2 people get off the bus. At the next stop, 2 people get off the bus. At the next stop, 3 people get on and one person gets off the bus. Here is the question. What color are the eyes of the bus driver?
Yes, anyone who can answer? Ajay Sharma sir has read out the story. Now answer this question. Very interesting.
It's that you are the bus driver. You yourself are the bus driver. I think the color of the bus driver is color, one who reads it.
Yes, sir. Very good, sir. Wonderful, sir. Yes. That is why it is the activities are even active listener, because the answer is here only. You don't have to think about other bus driver. You yourself are a bus driver. First of all, first line is this. This is the first line. Pretend that you are a bus driver.
Yes.
So see, even after listening, and the answer is hidden here. We could not, and we took time in answering this question. So, are you an active listener? So, if you will be active listener, then only we can understand things. Okay. There is difference between active listening and hearing.
That may be the passive listening.
Hearing versus listening, yes. What is the difference between hearing and listening?
Should I, ma'am?
Hearing, anyone, yeah.
Active listening, when we listen the message, when we listen, understand the message sent to us, that may be the active listening. When we understand the message sent to us, that is active listening. Passive listening, when we just hear, but we don't receive the message. Hearing,
my question is,
that is only to hear.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Excuse sir.
Active listener means
You have asked the difference between hearing and listening.
Yes, sir. That is what I'm asking Ajay Sharma to
Yeah, ma'am.
Sharma sir to understand.
Hearing is a general
ma'am.
phenomena. Hearing is a general phenomena where anyone can hear anything.
Yes.
But we don't pay attention, sir. But we don't pay attention.
We don't pay attention there. But listening is a process where we focus the thing very positively or attentively.
Attentively.
And there
We need to
we understand what we are going to listen. And listening
Yes,
is
yes, sir. In general sense, listen means to hear attentively.
Means listening requires deliberate effort on the part of listeners, intention. And hearing is just whatever is going on around us. If any noise is there, we can hear, but we may not understand. That is hearing. Yes.
to listen means to listen. To listen means to hear with attention.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Right.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right, sir. Active listening includes these things. Focus fully on the speaker, so your interest, avoid interrupting or redirecting, avoid seeming judgmental, create a safe environment, make the speaker feel heard and understood. Now, what are the values of listening? I want someone to read it out. Please read it out. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
you are quite clear, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. What we have to do now?
Okay. Actually, I'm asking someone to read it out.
Okay, okay, ma'am. Value for listening. Listening to others is an elegant art. Good listening reflects courtesy and good manners. Listening carefully to the instructions of superiors improve competence and performance. The result of poor listening skill could be disastrous in business, employment, and social relations. Good listening can eliminate a number of imaginary grievances of employees. Good listening skill can improve social relations and conversation. Listening is a positive activity rather than a passive or negative activity. It's okay, ma'am.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Now we will. Thank you. Now we will discuss why communication processes are essential in the schools and societies. First, to build a strong communication skills in students. Communication skill. We are language teachers, and we know that language requires. There are 4 skills of a language, that is reading, writing, speaking, listening. Listening, speaking, reading, and writing. So we need to develop these skills among our students. That is very important. For teaching any subject,
Time ho gaya.
for teaching any subject properly. Yes, sir. Next is to make them feel confident about themselves while talking in class or outside. If a student possesses effective communication skill, that student will feel confident. But if a student lacks this skill, cannot communicate properly, that student will not feel confident. He will feel shy while speaking. He may think that while speaking, I may make errors, and so he will he will not try to speak, and he will not feel confident. Next point is to make them understand things accurately, get the exact point of view of their teacher. Effective communication skill is also required to understand any subject, to understand any topic. And we have already discussed that effective communication skills includes many skills. It goes through many processes that needs to be followed carefully. Next is a good communication skill is something that lasts till our death, and so it is essential for everyone. Means if anybody has said something wrong, that disturbs the person throughout his life, he remembers that. So good communication skill is something that lasts till our death, and so it is essential for everyone to speak correctly, to have effective communication skill. To make them have great career opportunities in the future, every work in our generation requires good communication skills. Everywhere, whichever field you go, you need to communicate. Communication skill is required. achieve the specific goal that they have been born for. Communication, effective communication skill help the students achieve yes.
Rita ma'am, it's a request to conclude your session in 5 minutes. We have already 10 minutes late. So we'll have a tea break for 5 or 10 minutes.
Okay. Okay, I will have to conclude here only.
If you want to take 5 minutes more,
Okay.
you can, ma'am. But if it's possible, then
Okay.
then may come.
Yeah. Yes, just 5 minutes. In 5 minutes, just we will know what are the essentials of communication, what should we do and what we shouldn't. First, let's go through those. Always think ahead about what you are going to say. Use simple words and phrases that are understood by everybody. Increase your knowledge on all subjects you are required to speak. Speak clearly and audibly. Check twice with the listener whether you have been understood accurately or not. In case of an interruption, always do a little recap of what has been already said. Always pay undivided attention to the speaker while listening. While listening, always make notes of important points. Always ask for clarification if you have failed to grasp others' point of view. Repeat what the speaker has said to check whether you have understood accurately. Next, what should not be done in communication? Do not instantly react and mutter something in anger. Do not use technical terms and terminologies not understood by majority of people. Do not speak too fast or too slow. Do not speak in inaudible surroundings as you won't be heard. Do not assume that everybody understands you. While listening, do not glance here and there as it might distract the speaker. Now, how can we improve our existing level of communication? First, we need to improve language, improve pronunciation, then we should work on voice modulation, work on body language, we need to read more, we need to listen more, we need to avoid reading or watching or listening on unwanted literature, gossip, media presentation, etc. Next is interact with qualitative people. We need to improve on the topic of discussion. We need to practice meditation and good thoughts. We should first think and then speak. We should not speak too fast. We should use simple vocabs. We should not speak only to impress someone, and we should look presentable and confident. That's all. With this, I'm concluding my session. Thank you for being a passive listener. Thank you all.
Thank you, Rita ma'am.
Ma'am, thank you.
Session.
Thank you, Rita
So
ma'am.
now we have
Thank you, ma'am.
already. Ma'am has already left us at 11:58. Our next session will start after 10 minutes tea break. Okay, it's already 11,
That
12
is
o'clock.
12:10. We are going to
12:10
meet
we
at
will start.
Rakesh
10 minutes
sir,
yes, sir.
should we leave the session or stay connected?
Stay connected. There's no problem. Just
Okay, okay, sir.
mute yourself and video too. And we'll meet just after 10 minutes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.